August 1st, 1914. At precisely 5 p.m., a historic crowd gathered outside the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, while miles away in Berlin, an equally anxious populace packed the Grand Avenue of Unter den Linden. For 30 days, the world had watched the terrifying aftermath of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo, hoping that international diplomacy could somehow defuse the crisis. But on this fateful summer afternoon, the diplomatic dams broke completely, and the gears of the long-feared European alliance systems ground heavily into motion. The German Empire officially issued a formal declaration of war against the Russian Empire. With the stroke of a pen, a conflict that had begun as a localized regional dispute in the Balkans was instantly transformed into a catastrophic continent-wide struggle. The centuries-old imperial architecture of Europe was coming apart at the seams. The world was now teetering helplessly on the absolute edge of an industrial abyss, and as the orders for mobilization swept through the capitals, it became devastatingly clear there was no turning back.
How a localized crisis in southeastern Europe could explode into a global conflagration in a single afternoon. We must analyze the domino effect built entirely into the rigid alliance networks of the great powers. For decades, Europe had preserved an uneasy peace through a complex network of secret treaties and mutual defense pacts. But this system acted as a trap. When Austria-Hungary attacked Serbia, it triggered Russia's decision to mobilize its massive army to protect its Balkan ally. This Russian mobilization caused an immediate panic in Berlin. Under Germany's rigid military war strategy, known as the Schlieffen Plan, the German army could not afford to fight a prolonged war on two fronts simultaneously. Therefore, Germany's declaration of war on Russia was a calculated preemptive strike designed to knock out the East before turning to confront France. But this single decision forced the hands of every other major European power. By declaring war on Russia, Germany automatically locked its own ally, Austria-Hungary, into a wider conflict, while forcing France to mobilize to honor its sacred treaty with the Tsar. Diplomacy was completely overtaken by automated military logistics. Secret alliances had effectively removed human choice from the equation, rapidly transforming a localized political crisis into a full-scale, uncontrollable industrial war.
The historic declarations of war on August 1st signaled a profound, permanent shift in human history, the dawn of total war. This was no longer an era of limited conflicts fought by small professional armies on distant battlefields. The mobilization orders triggered the immediate, rapid call-up of millions of men across Europe. Farmers, factory workers, teachers, and students were pulled from their civilian lives, loaded onto heavily coordinated railway networks, and pushed directly toward the front lines. The onset of the conflict marked the definitive end of 19th century diplomatic maneuvers, replaced instantly by the terrifying mechanics of 20th century industrial carnage. The armies marching to war in the summer of 1914 still carried old-world ideas of romance, glory, and swift cavalry charges, but they were marching directly into an industrial abyss. For the first time, human bravery was matched against the unyielding lethality of heavy artillery, repeating rifles, and early machine guns. The state structures of the great powers reorganized their entire economies, resources, and populations for a single purpose: total destruction. The fields of Europe were about to be transformed into factories for mass death, introducing humanity to a scale of conflict it had never before experienced.
August 1st remains to this day a monumental, tragic date that permanently changed the course of the world forever. The decisions made on that single afternoon did not just start a war, they systematically destroyed an entire generation, leaving behind over 20 million dead and fracturing the confidence of Western civilization. We can trace a direct path from the declarations of August 1914 to the subsequent 4 years of grueling, agonizing struggle that culminated in the armistice of 1918. The catastrophic conflict defined the next century of global geopolitical history. The war brought about the complete, sudden collapse of 4 historic empires. The German, Russian, Austro-Hungarian, and Ottoman dynasties were swept away into history. The vacuum left behind by this collapse sowed the direct seeds for the rise of totalitarian ideologies, giving birth to Soviet communism and paving the political pathway for the rise of fascism and Nazism. Even now, over a century later, international relations experts and modern statesmen continue to analyze the vital, sobering lessons we still draw from the collapse of 1914 diplomacy. It stands as an enduring warning of how easily a civilized world can slide into total destruction when communication fails and brinkmanship takes over.
The declaration of war on August 1st, 1914 was a dark, definitive moment when history lost control. It serves as a haunting historical proof that the complex systems built to preserve the peace can sometimes become the very mechanisms that accelerate our descent into warfare. As we observe our modern global landscape, where major superpowers are once again navigating deep geopolitical divides and expanding their regional security pacts, the ghosts of 1914 remain deeply relevant. How do you assess the raw, complex balance between the aggressive pursuit of national interests and the essential prevention of catastrophic war? Can a globalized world ever rely on military alliances to maintain stability, or do they simply create a bigger trap when a crisis erupts? We want to hear your analytical insights and unique perspectives, so please share your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you found this comprehensive historical breakdown valuable, please hit that like button, share this video with a fellow history enthusiast, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another deep dive into the epic, world-shaping moments of our shared human past. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and we will see you in the next video.